VR is growing up, Batman is proof.
The hell are you supposed to be?
Let me explain. Take your mind back to 2016, the year the original PlayStation VR had just launched, and along with it, a little game called Batman Arkham VR.
Version 7.
Multiple trauma. You must have been
And when I say little game, I mean that. This was literally like a 45-minute long tech demo that lacked many of the trademark aspects of the Batman Arkham franchise. Like, how do you make a Batman game with zero combat? But despite that short runtime and general lack of interactivity, at the time this was the closest you could get to truly embodying the Batman.
Calibration complete.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
That is, if you could afford to buy a $400 PlayStation 4 along with a $400 PlayStation VR add-on along with the $20 it costs to buy the game. So we're looking at about $820 minus tax to be the Batman for about 45 minutes. Not a great deal if you ask me. Fun fact though, the PlayStation VR 1 was actually my first ever VR headset I owned, so you can add that to the Virtual Bro lore, and I loved using this headset for quite a long time. I played some really memorable games like Blood and Truth, I Expect You to Die, Arizona Sunshine, and many more. But eventually, I quite literally ran out of good games to play. The PlayStation VR store was dry, and I ended up selling this headset less than a week after I got a Quest 2 for Christmas. And I never once considered going back. Now that I own a Quest headset, if anything, I've had the opposite problem. Between the official store page, the App Lab early access games, side-loaded games from SideQuest, or connecting your headset to a PC to access Steam's entire library of VR titles, there are now literally too many games for me to try them all. Now look, I'm no meta shill. I think Zuck is probably a pretty strange guy.
Do you have a favorite feature to use in here?
Yeah.
Something that you think is very cool?
Check this out.
Wow.
So that's pretty neat.
But I can't deny what they've done to push forward this technology that I'm so passionate about. I've actually personally declined joining Meta's content creators program because I don't want them to have any sort of influence over my channel. I want to remain as independent and honest as I can, but that being said, the Quest 3 is genuinely my favorite headset I've owned and deserves an exclusive like this to get more people interested in buying it. So, 8 years after the original Arkham VR experience left so many people wanting more.
Whoa! That was phenomenal! I would have liked to see more of the, like when I was on top of the banisters and whooshing down to something else. I would have wished it would like show you like gliding down to it or something like that instead of just skipping and going right to it. But I really wish I had like when I was like zooming to some other stuff and it showed me actually doing it instead of just cutting straight to it. So in that regard it was a little lacking, but could you imagine a fully fledged first person Batman game like that? Oh my god.
Well, Jack, yes I can, because it looks like that's exactly what Camouflage Studios is delivering with this brand new game.
I'm done holding back!
From the stealth sections to the grappling, even the free-flow combat looks really promising. I'm still a little bit skeptical about how they'll pull it off. Maybe it'll look good, but will you really feel like Batman? Probably. From the early previews I've seen, this game will surely be a system seller for the Quest 3 and newly announced Quest 3S. Judging from how angry people are that they need to buy a VR headset to play the next true installment of the Arkham franchise, no, not you, I'm almost positive that this is the kind of VR exclusive that the industry needs to draw in a larger audience. Clearly, so far it's working. I've seen so many other YouTubers who don't typically cover VR genuinely interested in this game. And to me, it's clear why. VR is growing up. In 2024, you can buy a Quest 3S in a bundle that comes with the Arkham Shadow game, meaning that the price to fully immerse yourself as Batman is now only $300. That's over $500 cheaper than when the first Arkham VR game released just 8 years ago. And this time your purchase includes hours upon hours of gameplay because this isn't just a short tech demo, this is a fully fledged game. The Quest 3S is kind of a crazy topic to begin with. I mean, for the price of a Nintendo Switch, you get an all-in-one VR VR experience with the latest processing power, capable of running all the new exclusive games. That is a good deal in my opinion. There is nothing quite like being fully immersed in one of your favorite digital worlds. But you know what really kills my immersion more than anything else? When your VR headset feels like it's digging into your skin. Does anyone else's skin get irritated by the default Quest 3 face cushion? I know I said it's my favorite headset, but it definitely could use some upgrades if you plan to use it for long periods at a time. Thankfully, the sponsor of today's video helps you do exactly that. Now I know many of you have already upgraded your head straps by now, which is awesome. That is definitely the first accessory you should get for your Quest, but the second most important thing in my opinion is a much better facial interface. The default one has this rough texture that I do not like touching my skin for more than 20 minutes at a time, plus it probably soaks up all your sweat and gets pretty gross. The Kiwi replacement facial interface has these faux leather cushions that are both much more comfortable and way easier just to wipe clean. Another difference you'll notice on the Kiwi design facial interface is these grooves right here. These are actually air vents that help keep the inside of the headset cool, which should definitely help if your lenses ever fog up or if you find yourself sweating a lot in VR. Now they also wanted me to mention that Kiwi Design's 6th anniversary just passed, and along with that announcement they revealed some new made-for-Meta products that they'll be making for the Quest 3S. Now I'm personally still not sure if I'll get the Quest 3S since I already have a Quest 3, but if you do end up getting the Quest 3S, Kiwi Design will certainly have some great accessories for it. Thanks again to Kiwi Design for supporting my channel and for making genuinely high-quality VR accessories. Now, I know I've mostly talked about Batman Arkham Shadow in this video, but there are several other games releasing soon that I think will further cement VR gaming in the mainstream. Alien Rogue Incursion, Metro VR, Behemoth, just to name a few. And while sure, there's definitely been hype for VR games in the past, what feels different this time around is that it seems like that excitement isn't just limited to the VR community. And that's something I've been thinking about a lot recently. When I first started this channel just over a year ago, I had one goal: to show people what they were missing out on in the world of VR. Some of the experiences I've had here have been so amazing, yet feel so underappreciated. So I made it my goal to inspire others to try those VR experiences in the same way that those videos back in 2016 inspired me to get into VR in the first place. But I want you to know that even with the growing popularity of VR, my mission stays the same. It definitely will be a little harder now that so many promising games are releasing and so many other content creators are covering them, but there are definitely plenty of smaller indie titles that totally fly under the radar, but that are absolutely worth experiencing. So definitely make sure you're subscribed for those. I've said this before, but we are truly finally away from those tech demos and sandboxes that defined this past generation of VR. And I'm definitely glad about that. I've always complained, but for some reason, a part of me will definitely miss this era. It's awesome to be around when a new medium is still developing. No one is quite sure what the best way to do anything is, so we see all sorts of ideas and experimentation. Some ideas work better than others, and as the medium advances, we start to see more developers pulling from the same toolbook. Mechanics get refined and standardized. I mean, just look at the influence Half Life Alyx has had on every other VR game released after. This really has been the era of figuring out what works in VR, and I, for one, am glad to have been around for it. I think in time, those of us who have been playing VR for years or even grew up with these kinds of games will probably look back on this with a real sense of nostalgia. Despite how short-lived many of those experiences were back on the original PlayStation VR, I don't think I'll ever forget the first time I was attacked by those sharks, or the first zombie horde I fought, or that time it felt like I really flew an X-Wing from Star Wars. You know that phrase or meme that's like, oh, I was born in the wrong generation, I should have been born in the whatever era. They kind of romanticize like a past era or generation. Yeah, that's not me. I was born at the perfect time to watch VR grow up. And for that, I'm thankful. And if you're watching this video, I hope you are too. Also, thank you for watching in the first place. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like so I know, because it was a bit different from my usual content. But don't worry, next video I'll be back with some awesome new games to recommend to you, so make sure you're subscribed. Now I know I've been doing this for like over a year at this point, but I still don't have like an outro or anything. It's kind of become a running joke that I don't have one and will never probably figure one out, so I usually just ramble here at the end of the video until either you get bored and click away, or I interrupt myself mid-sentence, but who knows how long that'll take. I mean, I guess you know how long that'll take because you can just look at the time code down below.